One of my favorite things to eat in the South was pimento and cheese, and I love pimento and cheese. But I've learned to make a fancy pancetta pimento and cheese, so come on into my kitchen and let's make this fancy pancetta pimento and cheese. Okay, so here we go. We have 2 cups of our Mexican blend cheese. We have 4 ounces of our cream cheese, which is a chive and onion. I have a teaspoon of garlic pepper, and I also have a teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce. I have a half a cup of honey roasted pecans. I also have a cup of asiago cheese, and I also have a half a cup of parmesan cheese. I have 7 ounces of pimentos, the large jar. I have a cup of mayonnaise, and then I have about 4 ounces of pancetta, but we're going to cook the pancetta, so we'll show you that in a minute. And then I've got some bacon crumbles. So we're going to mix everything together but the pancetta. So stick with me, I'll be right back. Okay, now, so we're just going to mix everything together in this large bowl here. So I'm going to add in bacon, my pecans, my cream cheese, and all that's going in. Then we're going to add my other cheeses, my parmesan, my asiago, and my pimentos. And then we're going to add our little garlic pepper, our little bit of Worcestershire, all of this in here. Mix it up, and I'm going to add my mayo in just a second when I get the cream cheese kind of spread out in here. We'll add our mayo, and see I'm working it in here real good. So we'll do that. So let's now start adding the mayo. I may not need it all, but pretty much it usually takes about that much for this large batch, because this is a large batch. It's very good to take to parties and different things like that. I've taken it to many parties and they love it. It's a big hit. It's kind of I would say a meaty looking pimento cheese, if you want to say it that way. We're going to need the rest of the mayo. We'll go ahead and put that in there. Now you can add some salt to this if you think you need it, but most time with the pancetta and the bacon, it becomes salty enough. You just need a little pepper or something if you want extra pepper to put in it. All right, so we got this mixture together. It's looking really good. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to the stove and I'm going to warm up this pancetta and let it cook on the stovetop a little bit. And I'm going to tell you a story while I'm doing that. So I have my pancetta here cooking. So while I'm cooking my pancetta, I will tell you a story. So Fatima and I had 2 small boys at the time. This was probably early 90s. And we decided to move out of the country and move to the city of Laverne. And we didn't know it, or unbeknownst to us, that we were moving to what they call Silk Stocking Avenue. And I guess it was the fancy part of town, hence we have our fancy pancetta pimento cheese. But anyway, when we first got there, our neighbor across the street came over, and I was outside with the 2 boys, and they were running around. They were under 5 at least, and they were running around everywhere, and they're only 21 months apart because everybody thinks they're twins. And so they were running around everywhere, and my neighbor come over, and I would call her Southern nobility. So Southern nobility, so she had a particular accent, and her accent was as such. She said, "Gary, I see that you have moved into the neighborhood, and I want you to know that it is a quiet neighborhood, and I have a reflection pond across the street. And so I just don't want your kids to fall in my reflection pond." And here I'm thinking, well, it's probably not going to be a quiet neighborhood anymore, and I'm definitely not letting my kids go across the street. But the funny story is, My kids love to go to my aunt's house to collect frogs. I mean, they would go, and there's little rain frogs that would jump on the side of her house all the time, and they would put them in jars and whatever. And so they put these frogs in jars and would bring them home over to my house. But one day, my neighbor came out and she was like, Gary, I do not know what's going on. She said, I just have so many frogs in my reflection pond. And I was like, wonder what happened. Okay, as you can see, the pancetta is now getting nice and done, rendering its fat a little bit. And we're now going to move this over to our pimento cheese and mix it in with our pimento cheese. And then we'll refrigerate it for a little bit. And then we'll finish decorating and plating it. And if you want any of these utensils I said, I'll put a spot on the website. Okay, I'm going to dip my pancetta and my pimento cheese here. Just everything goes in. And then we're going to mix it together here, as you can see. Just mix your pancetta in. Everything is mixed really good. And so we're going to refrigerate this a little bit and cool it off. And then we'll top it off with some other things and finish up here on this. Okay, my pimento cheese has now, my pancetta pimento cheese is now cooled. So I'm going to decorate a little bit just for presentation. So I'm going to put some more bacon crumbles on top. A little bit more bacon crumbles on top. See, it's looking real pretty. See that? Then maybe a few more pecan halves just for decoration around the top. I'm going to scatter those. Then for a little bit more color, I'm going to do some parsley flakes. Some beautiful parsley flakes. Look at that. Look how pretty that is. So this is your pancetta, pimento, and cheese. And I'm telling you, it's really, really good. I know I say that often, but this is really, really good. It's one of the best pimento cheeses, and I'm bragging a little bit, but it tastes good. I think I've ever eaten. And then I have here some fancy crackers, and probably my neighbor would say, these are fancy crackers. But anyway, I'm going to take my crackers and let's try this just a little bit. See how it tastes. I'm going to use my fingers a minute. Oh my God. Again, so good. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video.